Welcome to day 365 of the worldwide Megacrisis Hungerstrike to save your beautiful soul and life. It is my 1-year Hungerstrike anniversary. I've been on this Hungerstrike for a full year. It's perpetual to the potential death until we get the solution, because we're in the final stages. So look, I'm going to celebrate by having some food. No, I'm lying. We're not eating until we get the blessings done, okay? This was some vegan cheese that I made when I was cooking vegan French, but it's gone. So I don't have very many props, as you guys know. I'm in the poverty trap, and I know I'm in the poverty trap, right? That's the difference between an activist and somebody who's actually making bad choices in life because of the trauma they've experienced from the toxic culture that we're in. Okay, so my external appearance will look terrible. It'll look like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy can't be the one that's going to change anything. Yeah, it is. When you get to the real root of the problems, it's not a comfortable situation. Not in our global situation, our global circumstances. So I'm going to do something that looks pathetic on the outside. But if you understand what I'm pulling off here, that I have literally nothing. I sold everything. The only thing I have is the wisdom that I spent 75,000 hours learning over 20 years, with 12 years of that being university post-secondary education at one of the top 100 universities in the world, or it was. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is actually very sophisticated interdisciplinary science and transdisciplinary activism on the ground. All right, and underneath this is a tremendous amount of academia that's grounded in reason, culminating in Hegel and Aristotle, some of the most difficult philosophers that have ever lived, but also on divine revelation in all the holy texts. All right, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, the Quran, the Tripitaka with Buddhism, the Vedas with Hinduism. So somebody who's actually stuck in poverty doesn't have a cultivated sense of knowing like that, because I have what's called an autotelic personality. And an autotelic personality, another big word that just means you're self-directed, you're self-motivated. There's 5 traits. You have to have perseverance, you have to be curious, you have to have low self-centeredness, you have to have internal locus of control is what it's called. Therapists say if you want real power, you have to realize it in yourself. Otherwise you stay in victimhood, which we're not going to do. We're going to change this world for the better. And then the last trait, the 5th one, is doing things intrinsically, meaning that you're not getting a carrot and stick and led along to something that you don't want to do. You know who you are, you have authenticity, and you become that vision that inspires you because it feels like your natural giftedness, okay? That's what we're doing here. That's who I am, and that's what you're witnessing in the poverty trap, where it looks like none of that's happening, right? Because I'm being crushed by the deadness of the system. It's trying to stop me, the deadness. All right. And I've had to make tremendous strategic sacrifices to make it through this. So here's the pathetic thing I'm going to do. I don't have any resources right now because the donations and the guys that were helping me aren't able to help right now. One guy went to a conference. I'm like, okay, that's probably, all right, that's up to you, I guess. And yeah, so I'm sitting here on day 29 and 30 days, basically 29 hours and 29 days and 20 hours. And I'm hurting. I got a headache right now, which I don't normally have. So here's the pathetic thing that is actually in the inner world pretty darn incredible, if I have to toot my own horn. But please forgive me. This is my only person to celebrate with right now. This is a teddy bear, okay? And this looks pathetic. It's like, you're an older man with a beard. You shouldn't be doing this with playthings. What are you doing? Right? This is weird. I know it looks weird. But if you understand the meaning behind it, you're going to realize there's a tremendous amount of maturity going on here. This is not an ordinary teddy bear. I got this teddy bear when I was locked in a hospital on my first hunger strike in 2021 during Christmas. They locked me in there for 8 weeks because I simply stopped eating to try and unionize all the Uber Eats drivers that were being exploited. When we found out and we tracked every delivery during the COVID pandemic, we found out that these huge companies were using AI to basically manipulate everybody and create a new form of permanent slavery. It was terrifying because it was so effective. So that's not a very simple answer, is it? That's a pretty deep answer to go on a hunger strike for, and here we are witnessing it. If you go and look at the experts, they're saying we have a shockingly high chance of things going bad right now. All right. So I saw this coming years and years ago because it happened to us when we were trying to take care of people during the pandemic. We risked our lives giving food to people when everybody else was in their houses, not sure if COVID was going to kill them, because COVID in the beginning was killing people. Okay. And we were out there delivering food for people because all the jobs were gone. All right. So this teddy bear was given to me by the nurses after getting to know me for 8 weeks. And when I first got in there, you guys, they saw the external appearance. They saw a crazy guy who had a psychotic break and was doing a bunch of weird things, and they weren't listening to my actual words. They were dehumanizing me. And that's the thing that we're stopping now is you have a voice. You get these tools that make sure that doesn't happen to you, what happened to me. And I made it through 8 weeks. It's almost impossible because I have doctors in my family now. Even though I was born in poverty, we sort of rose up and suddenly had power, and that's why we're changing things, is because the bottom is painful. It's not real help. It's all charity, and it's all just, it's not real. It's not justice. So that's why I'm down here. I'm doing the real justice. Okay, so they basically tried to break me in the hospital. They tried to break my hunger strike, my charter rights. And the clinical ethicist that I was talking to in the hospital, which you don't, if you're a normal patient, you never talk to these guys. These guys are really high up in the hospital. But because I know how hospitals work and I have, lots of passion, but also knowledge, I ended up talking to them and saying, get me out of the situation. He ended up talking to this, they had a huge multidisciplinary team to try and deal with me because the 10 pathologies they gave me weren't fitting for 8 weeks. And in the end, every single one of them was dismissed. Every single one. And the doctor came in on my last days and he said, I can't give you any diagnosis because you literally did everything right. He said, you were like our best patient. And I was like, really? And it took a lot to stay calm because I was on a hunger strike for 60 days. I didn't eat anything. They were force feeding me through my heart. That's how bad they wanted to break my charter rights. And I sued them. I'm in the courthouse with them and I'm suing the Attorney General right now. Like, these are pretty big terms, right? These are not just me delusional. This is real court cases. Hundreds of pages of legal filings, medical documents, philosophy. This is real, all right? And a lot of the other stuff you hear of people who are actually delusional or in psychosis, they don't have a groundedness to the reason. But if you listen to me and get past the external appearances, there's a lot of strategy going on here in an impossible looking situation around us, all right? So what ended up happening is I ended up eating because they were going to take away my basically my charter rights for 10 years. They're going to assign my rights away to somebody else. And for me, strategically, I couldn't wait 10 years for somebody else to be a dictator to me who's lost in the deadness. So I said, okay, strategically, I have to eat now because they took away my right. They were going to take away my rights. So I switched on a dime. I started eating within 45 minutes. When this interview, I realized it was corrupt, that these people didn't understand what I was saying. And they weren't, it's not that, it's okay to not understand, but to not even try to understand is the deadness and the toxicity. So my doctor came in, and this was in December, leading up to this teddy bear. And he said, what happened? Like, why are you eating all of a sudden? And I ate, I love eating. I was so happy to eat. It takes an incredible amount of power to not eat when you're healthy. When you're not healthy and you have anorexia and bulimia, it's easier not to eat. That's why I'm saying if you're bulimic or anorexic, do not go on the hunger strike because it's actually an escapism. You actually have to eat and find a way to eat healthily and get over the traumatic memory that's creating that delusion. All right, but for me, I started eating, I had vegan, some kind of vegan hamburger or something. And actually, I remember exactly what it was because it was burned in my brain, so delicious. It was a triple patty, a vegan burger with a couple of fries and a little bit of a soft drink that I couldn't have a lot of. I actually ended up throwing up after because I ate a little bit too much. That was my first time going through that. I wasn't quite as experienced as I am now. And luckily I was in a hospital because they helped me. So that's why hunger strikes are extremely serious. But it wasn't like I was at risk of dying because they were feeding me through my heart. So my stomach wasn't activated, but my body had the proper electrolytes and all this stuff that will prevent you from getting brain damage. Where I am right now, if I ate right now, I would probably get close. I'd probably die. So that's why on my own, when I'm not in a hospital, I have to be very careful. And the 20 hunger strikes that I went on before this, come in handy. So to end this anniversary update, and I'm tired, I'm in pain right now, but I'm happy to tell you the story and help you see who I really am, because this is what we have to do for the homeless and the poor and everybody else, okay? Including your struggle. You're probably going through something our society doesn't care about, or it makes you feel that way. So when I started eating, and they were like blown away, because the last thing they were trying to get on me was, oh, he has fixed beliefs. Yeah, Gandhi had fixed beliefs too. That's why he stayed on the hunger strike. It's called commitment, not fixed beliefs. They were literally trying to find anything to pathologize, and they couldn't. That was the last thing. And I said to the doctor directly, I said, we're in a toxic culture where we're manufacturing mental illness. And she agreed with me. And I thought, this is an honest doctor. He's a spiritual doctor, actually, too, it turns out. So, well, anyway, grounded spiritual doctor. He said, I'm going to let you out of here with no disorders. They were injecting me. They were trying to give me pills. They were trying to do, and I was refusing all of it. And in the end, he got rid of all of it. And when they forced me to eat, though, I had that special meal, which the nurse bought for me personally. She said, if you start eating, I'll buy you personally what you want as a vegan. And she did. She lived up to that. Okay. She ended up becoming part of the lawsuit, unfortunately. But I still love her. It's just that she needed to do real. That was a charity thing she did, which is still lovely. I still loved it, but it didn't solve the injustice happening towards me. So what will probably happen is I'll mediate with her, and I'll say, you should have did this. Will you agree to do this next time? And not just charity, even though I'll say that I really appreciate that. Even though there was hospital food right there, which I ate next. That's going to get to this teddy bear. Anyway, she bought that, ate that, and then, yeah, the next thing that happened was I did have the hospital food. And guess what happened? I had a mask on the whole time. Those 8 weeks, I had a mask on 24. I slept in it because I didn't want to get any COVID in the hospital wards where it was higher. And so I didn't get COVID for 8 weeks, and there was an outbreak on that in this psych ward. And then the moment I took my mask off when I ate that hospital food, guess what? I got COVID. He was going to release me that week. This was 2 weeks before Christmas. I would have been home for Christmas. They did a swab on me. I had COVID. And guess what? It was one of the worst strains. It destroyed my smell. I lost something like 70% of my smell. It's real. COVID was deadly. Our whole species got through an epidemic. Like, we got through something crazy. And it was manufactured, it looks like, in a lab. So that whole conspiracy thing wasn't a conspiracy. It really was just something that happened. So anyway, I ended up getting locked in quarantine in the hospital for 2 weeks when I should have left. And the last thing that I ate with full smell and full sensuous taste was a vegan cinnamon bun that my girlfriend at the time brought me because she was visiting me in the hospital. And I'm so happy for that memory, because at least I got to have one really delicious thing, even though it's sugar and you shouldn't be eating sugar. But vegan ones are healthier, so it might not have been actual normal sugar. It might have been just cinnamon and healthy things. I couldn't look into it because I couldn't leave the hospital. So that was the last thing. I ate that at night because I was still trying to gain weight. This had been a while. And then when I woke up, my smell was gone, or it was mostly gone. I was tasteless. I couldn't taste anything in that COVID period. And I was like, darn, it's real. The COVID is actually real. And I thought it would come back, and it's been 4 or 5 years now, and it's not back. It completely wrecked me. It wrecked that part of my smell. So hopefully, and I tried to do smell training and a bunch of things. So I'm hoping that we can correct whatever the heck happened there so I can get back to my normal quality of life. And that's another reason why I sued, is because I was not going to take my mask on in that hospital. They forced me to eat. So it's the hospital's fault. So, long story short, this guy came in when I was in my bed, couldn't taste anything, and the nurses felt really bad for me that I was there over Christmas when I shouldn't have been. And they realized I was a sane guy on a hunger strike, and they were all getting nervous because they realized that they had tremendously wronged me. They literally broke the law. And I calculated 45 violations. It took 45 small little chippings away at my rights to eventually torture me in a hospital and try to destroy my mental capacities. Not because they're evil people, but we're in an evil system, and it's called the banality of evil. Hannah Arendt is a famous female philosopher that made up that term, the banality of evil. And that's why I'm changing everything, because you can't recognize it unless you have this universal logic, because there's so many little small things happening that's creating a hell on earth. So they came and they gave me this little guy. I call him Sublation Bear. And he was with me during that tough time. Because I couldn't be visited either. I was in quarantine, so my family couldn't come to the hospital and see me. And I was in a different city, and so it was pretty bad. And then I got released. The doctor kept his word. I got out of there without any mental illness and without any personality disorders. There's two ways they screw you over. One is an actual serious mental illness, and the other one is you have a personality disorder, which is not as serious, but it causes you to have less employment or less consideration. He didn't give me either. It was so shocking that I had doctors calling in to double check that it was real and confirm it. So that's why I'm down here, and I look like, oh, something's not happening, but there is. And now you understand why this teddy bear is not a weird, creepy, weird thing of an old guy that has no friends and blah, 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 blah. I have lots of people I can talk to. This is an incredibly meaningful event in my life. And right now, nobody can come and see me. I'm in a different city again. And I'm on a hunger strike, so I can't go and see them. So that's why in the poverty trap, I literally have nothing. I only have this thing here. So to make an engaging video with no resources, and I'm tired. I'm giving all my creativity actually to the software that I'm making for you to build God's government and the truth. That's why I'm putting this on here and risking that people who don't know my story are going to see the weirdness. But the people who've gotten to know me or my channel will see this and realize what's really happening, that this is an incredibly Herculean thing that I'm taking on here, because we are in a mega crisis and our lives are all at risk, including yours. Okay, we are heading towards a really desperate and shocking situation. If we get AI aligned with universal logic, we'll be okay. But nobody's listening to me because they're only seeing the external appearance. And you might think, well, then why didn't you just do the normal appearance? Why didn't you just shave and stay like your normal self? You looked okay then. And it's because even if you go the normal academic route, it takes too long. It's a double bind. Whether I do that or I do this, they're both risky, but this one's actually less risky because 85% of the world is religious. Meaning that Muslims need to see a beard. They don't need to, but it's a sign of wisdom and a sign of respect to the Quran and the traditions there. But it's also a sign in the Bible of wisdom as well. A lot of men, not to the same extent as Islam, but ancient Greek traditions, all these ancient wisdom traditions had an appearance of wisdom. And for me, whether I have a beard or not, it's really just because I can't afford shaving equipment either. It's cost expensive, but it really is a homage to these ancient wisdom traditions. So there's multiple reasons for having this appearance in terms of appealing to the real base of power in our species, which is actually religion. And underneath religion is universal logic. That's the true lessons underneath the parable and the stories and the sensuousness, okay? So if I would have went through academia, I would have been marginalized, PhD. There's so much egoism and credentialism in there, you don't get through. And for this approach, we might think, well, what's happening with you? Nothing's happening. But I've primed my network so much that if this software takes off, I will have put all the pieces in place to create a global movement very quickly, okay? So this is where my strategic choices come in. And I hope you understand that I know that I'm a little too old for a teddy bear. But he's cute, little panda. Has international significance, right? Asia, even though the Western world's supposed to be against other countries, in God's government we're not. We're unifying. So it has a geopolitical significance for healing. You can look at this in a bunch of sophisticated ways if you have a deep mind yourself and see it. But to those who are watching on my TikTok who don't know me, that's what I looked like in the beginning until you hear my story, right? So when I start getting raised up, the poor will come with me, right? I won't rise up until the poor rise with me, because I'm also representing not just wisdom traditions, but also homeless men can't afford to shave, and they get these real weird, scraggly beards that get all tangled like mine is getting, right?
imams and people in Islam have nice, clean shaven, not shaven, but combed beards, and they look good for the mosque, right? Because Prophet Muhammad said, be clean in the mosque, which is true, you should, and same with church. But unless you're in an extreme situation where you're caring about people, like I am right now. So this represents lots of things. So I want to look like the homeless, just like Gandhi wore the Dalit robes. Those robes that he wore were because that's what the poorest wore. And he says, I'm not going to eat well unless the poor get to eat well. I'm not going to shave this off. I'm not going to just like in my normal Western way until the poor, we get God's government protecting the poor in every country. All right, and I need your help for that. If you help me out and you help them out, and we raise up a little notch, then maybe we'll all eat something together, and then we'll raise up a notch, and we'll buy a certain clothing together, and then eventually we'll all rise up, and then we'll start having this abundance happen where the materialism is not dead, it's real abundance and beauty. Okay, it's not like we're going to live insipid aesthetic lives, aesthetic lives for our whole life. No, the point is to be here and enjoy, but enjoy in the right, wise way, wisdom, the right place, the right time, and the right way, wayfulness, the way the truth in life do. Okay. Oh man, I hope you recognize the sophistication of what I'm saying there, and the simplicity of the essence of the wisdom of it. All right. This is a 21-minute recording, but I'm making these because we're about to get 108 people into a room, hopefully in the next 10 days, so I can eat soon, because I'll be on day 40, almost no food, which is really long. All right. And when people go to watch my videos, they can start to see the real philosophy and how I'm thinking in the inner world. So when they see me do something weird, they're like, no, there's probably a story. There's probably something inverted going on, that he's probably doing the truth, but our world is distorting it, and our backwards world is twisting it. That's what happens. We're backwards because of these things called dialectics. All right. Oh, wow, my arm is tired. But I got to pull this off quickly. And I'm using some AIs, and I'm really going hard, which is why I'm tired. I'm burning the midnight oil, you guys. I really am. If you watch my YouTube stream, I'm up till like 3 a.m, and I shouldn't really be. So I'm trying to sleep, and I'm staying balanced, but it's starting to get painful. Like, I'm really hungry. And the scary thing is you actually get so hungry that eventually you stop getting hungry, and that's when you're starting to die. So let's not get to that point. And you might be like, why would you do that? Because you have to. This darkest before dawn. People won't believe you're real, that you're really risking your life for them, until your life is really at risk, and they're like, okay, I believe you. All right, you're not manipulating me. Especially schizophrenics and other people who have real bad paranoia and have been harmed tremendously. They need to see really extreme levels of commitment. And you're saying it, and I'm proving it. Watch my stream. And if you don't believe it, tell me what you need to see, and I'll sit here. And if you want me to bring my phone into my bathroom to prove I'm not eating in the bathroom, I'll do it. It's even more weird. Other people will be like, this is a weird stream. The teddy bear was weird. The bathroom thing is even more weird. And I was doing the bathroom thing in the beginning, but I think it was, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what people want. But for now, I need to stop talking because my stomach is getting upset. My mouth is really dry. And I have something really exciting brewing over here for you. I think you're going to like it. It's the culmination of tens of thousands of hours of leadership experience. I've led big teams too, right? So if you look up my name I'm on Google, you'll see me. I'm a top 100 inventor worldwide. How can I be the top 100 inventor worldwide by a Vanity magazine, but it's a respected magazine worldwide in New York City? How can I be this, but lost total control down here? And some people say, well, some geniuses are like that. They got real lots up here and they're in the abstract, but they don't have any practical wisdom. When you're growing up in poverty, you have to have practical wisdom or else you die. You don't make it, or you get crushed. This is a forced choice. I can't say a real choice because the courts will say, well, that you're doing this voluntarily. No, I'm not. I'm being crushed right now by that hospital. I had to sell my ass. I had to do a bunch of things to get this court case off the ground, and they harmed me in other ways, which may eventually come out. So it's caused the situation, and there's a lot of double binds. Look up double binds. So anyway, thank you for letting me tell that story. I hope you're celebrating with me that I'm still alive here a year later. I've been on 20 stints of Hungerstrike on this. You guys have helped me eat 19 times? I think the next meal is the 20th one. I have over 600 12-hour recordings on YouTube. 600 doing this for this year. And I was on 11 Hungerstrikes before this.
So, but now we need 3,600 blessings in this meeting platform, which I'll invite you to. And then we'll all get into a room and we'll take off if you love it. All right. These AIs are allowing me to do like 10 years, 20 years of coding in literally days. It's only been a week since I've had this technology, and it feels like it's been like 4 months. Okay, so Sublation Bear says, happy anniversary. It's even more weird. So thank you for joining me. You guys could be the Sublation too. And I hope you stay blessed. The wifey slogan, if she wants to come and help, if she's too hardcore wise for everybody else, she's just right for me. And we'll find what you need as well and have this new sharing and gift economy that's wise and not naive utopia. It's wise utopia. Kingdom come if you're religious. Okay? All right. Stay blessed. Let me know what you want to hear. Some of you have left comments in my chats. I haven't been commenting on them. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you leaving those comments in there and watching. And somebody sent me thousands of hearts on my streams on TikTok. And the people who are here are good. So thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Keep submitting. Peace. Oh, shoot. We didn't do the core. Should we stick with the pattern? The core is Fair World Spirit. The Fair World Spirit core starts with time compression through clarity and ego wisdom. The problem we're solving is called the Megacrisis. The solution is the 2 sacred sentences, and the implementation is flow, rules, and flocks. We're going to unpack the first part of the second part of the core, right? The 2 sacred sentences, because we unpacked the universal logic yesterday. And the empowerment sentence is what we start with in terms of anti-cult training. Because I've studied cultures, right? It's not as naive as it looks, right? I can look like a cult leader. I've been said I have charisma and a bunch of other things. So those are all cult aspects. So what I do to counteract that is I teach anti-cult training and empower you right away. And the empowerment sentence goes like this.